Okay, we're streaming live on YouTube right now. Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
So we're streaming live on YouTube right now, but
Okay.
I'm about to get the Facebook situation. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Okay,
can
go
hear you.
ahead. I'm with you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So far, we have waiting for everybody to join.
Okay. Are some persons joining?
Let me see. We are.
Were you able to send the link on the Facebook platform?
No, not on Facebook so far. I'm working the one for Facebook. I'm trying to make one for Facebook.
But you can possibly post the link on Facebook, right?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. We're not yet seeing each other. It's not yet.
Just you and me for now. But I know that people are running a bit late.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Why are we not seeing each other? Is
Okay,
it from here?
You.
You're seeing me? Are you seeing me?
Let me see. Okay. Okay, can you see me?
Yes, I'm seeing you right now.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. From here, this part of the world.
Yeah, good evening. How are you? Actually, it's morning right now. It's about 9 o'clock.
Oh, morning. Okay, in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, have you been able to post to establish the link on Facebook platform?
Yeah, I'm working on that right now. I just want to make sure that we have. So far, we have we're live on YouTube, and you can share the YouTube link. I shared it on the WhatsApp group.
I've shared it already.
Anybody click on the WhatsApp group will see the link on the WhatsApp group is going to be able to join via the YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna give the latecomers 5 more minutes before we start. I know that there are people still joining right now. I thank everybody for taking the time off their day to join us today as we discuss issues that are critical to our survival and prosperity. My name is Godswill, and I have with me Mark Hamza. He's um, he's one of the close political campaign team partners that will be helping out today with the meeting. But we're just going to go ahead and wait for extra 5 minutes for everybody else to join, and after which we now go into the agenda of the day.
Okay. If you share the link, you let me know.
Okay, so here's the thing. There are people on YouTube right now that that are already YouTube is live. So there are people on YouTube. Actually, there's one person on YouTube actually, but I can only connect to one social media or one media, either YouTube or Facebook. So right now, I was able to connect to Facebook to YouTube. Unless I disconnect from YouTube, then I'll connect to Facebook. But
Okay. Okay.
so
Okay, you're not able to connect to.
yes, I can only connect to one of the platform.
Okay, 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 okay.
But so I'm on
You're making further efforts.
yeah, but I don't want to disconnect from YouTube because of we already have
Mm,
people there.
okay.
Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and start and allow people to join, and as they join, then we continue because I know we're already guess we're already 15 minutes, almost 30 minutes past our start time. So um so I'd like to go ahead and open this meeting. So my name is God's Will, and I'll be hosting this event with Corporate Livingston Emeka Okoye. Okay, because he's going to do himself after now. He's the president of or the chairman of Ndoki Nation Assembly. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to him for him to introduce himself and then talk a little bit more about the organization and all the good things that they've been doing. Okay, Comrade Livingston, go ahead.
Thank you very much. It's my great privilege to have this great occasion and time together to share with us and be with us together. This is a prayer answered, not just interacting with persons, lucky persons within, but in diaspora. So before we go ahead, I would like us to pray because Ndoki people love Jesus Christ. So let us pray. Our dear Lord in heaven, we thank you. We ascribe all the glory to you for this wonderful moment. Thank you for creating us and making us a people like this. We are Ndoki people, specially made. We are of hybrid. We glorify your name for all your goodness upon our life. Thank you for your peaceful disposition of our nature. Thank you for all the qualities and all the blessings you have blessed our land and our lives with. Well, thank you for your mercies that in the time of catastrophe like this and commotion all over the world, you always made Ndoki land to remain peaceful. Well, thank you for all the special and great people you have blessed our land with. We gathering together into your presence and ask that you come and take preeminent. Our yearning desire will commit into your hands. You will bless the land of Ndoki and bless the seed of Ndoki and bless home and in diaspora. Ndoki people are found that they be prosperous. In this time of trouble, all over the world. I pray that I commit the life of Ndoki people into your hands and ask that you protect every one of us, that we will never stumble in our ways. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Livingstone Chukwemeka Okere. I'm an indigenous of Ohanko Ndoki in Okwa East, Abia State. I'm the president of Ndoki National. In the recent time, Ndoki National Assembly have brought so much awakening in the heart of persons, both home and abroad. By the grace of God, being added, which has been published in Ndoki land here. I'm speaking from Ndoki land, Afam Okoloma precisely. By the grace of God, I was born fortunate to have both of my parents from Ndoki land. My mother hails from the riverine side of Ndoki, Umabai precisely. My father from Ohaku, as Ali said. And both of them are from Ndoki. Grandfather is from Ndoki. So Ndoki blood. And as I said, being born while growing up, I saw dichotomy among our people. The division which was brought to our land by the government of Mama Nasa through Mama Nasa program 1978. Within 77, 78, Mama Nasa boundary adjustment program. And before then, from the little history, I know, maybe I was not born then, or I was very little, but I have been able to make a inquiry and find out that before then, Ndoki people were one. We were under a local government called Ndoki County Council, which means there was nothing like Ndoki Abia Rivers and Akwa Ibom. What we know is that we were all Ndoki people. And under this county council, this was the local administrative center where all the part of Ndoki run their affairs. But the program of land adjustment program of Mama Justice, Sir Mama Nasa, broke Ndoki land into 3 segments. And they giving us some part of Ndoki ceded to Akwa Ibom, called Akwa Ibom State, some rivers, some Abia. And the major part of Ndoki land from my investigation, these displacements made major part of our land and communities were balkanized. They were balkanized, being that we didn't come together and start to protect the interests of some of these micro communities. Some of these micro communities have been exceeded, have been kind of the enclave. Some enclave are no longer part of Ndoki as I speak to you. They are now part of Ngwa. Some have entered Akwa Ibom because of lack of unity. And some community who stood their ground and refused to join some of this area, as I speak to you by the grace of God, have started coming back. I want to use this opportunity to specially thank the local government chairman of Okwa East. In due time, we will reach him for the effort he's making. I've not been able to say anything yet. Ndoki National Assembly have been closely watching his activities, the area he is touching, the important aspects. He is channeling his energy, administrative energy. A community called on Hobu, which personally I mobilized some part of executive member will pay the visit and head unity meeting as our manner. And we'll find out that people, they were so much in their need of coming back to Okwa East, fully being reintegrated into Okwa East local government. And they refused to join the Anans, the Akwaboms. So by the grace of God, Ndoki National Assembly now was born out of this quest and hunger to bring unity among the Ndoki people. Because personally, I noticed and I observed that all our people was only focusing their local government and the state government. The river side, they were looking at the rivers government, state government of the river state. The other side, their attention were at Umuahia, Akwa Ibom. Those people were kind of, they don't know where to fall in, because that's the minority of the minority. They were very small, some number of communities that are not big enough. So their strength. And the worst aspect of it is that some of our people who were broken into these trade segments were facing security challenges. And these security challenges, they were not big enough to withstand, to resist. The security challenges is coming from the neighboring communities who are coming to take over the little part of the and portion of their land. Many people, many Ndoki people have been killed in the process, and nobody is standing to lend his or her voice for them. No political leader were thinking in this direction. And the little ones that they made efforts, some people that made efforts proved abortive. So, but by divine grace, when I began with this vision, so many people thought it wouldn't be possible to unite Ndoki. But I had a conviction because it was burning in me. The first person I shared the vision was Dr. Chimatins Wogu, the late Chimatins, blessed memory. He was a man who had the same passion and working towards the same direction. When he was alive, he was the chairman of, when then I was a chairman of Oyibo, Allied Youth of River State, Oyibo local government. I was a board of trustee chairman then. So he was our patron. So I told him that this is a burden I'm having, a time to see Ndoki people to have one platform, one to come together under one umbrella, have one common front, and become formidable so that our voice will be heard both in Nigeria and beyond. But death caught him short because I was very young then, and I was seeing myself to be very young to embark on this great mission. So, but by the grace of God, having this mandate from God, I began. I called for meetings, invited people from this side of Ndoki, the three segments of Ndoki. By the grace of God, the first meeting, the attendance of first meeting emphasized me, was very encouraging, and we proceeded from there. And since then, we have never relented efforts in moving from community to community, holding unity meeting. We don't just centralize our meeting, we'll take it round from one community to another community. If we go to Ndoki Rivers, we'll select one community and all the whole people will come there, we'll hold our meeting there. Then the next meeting, we'll take it to Ndoki Abia, Ndoki Akwa Ibom. This is how we've been revolving our meetings. And in the meeting, we'll start awareness and start reviving the mind of people, reminding ourselves of who we are and how God made us and the intention of God creating us as Ndoki people. So by the grace of God, The recent time revival we have seen in Ndoki land is as a result of the revival message and reawakening from Ndoki Nation Assembly. Today, Ndoki Union, which the leadership of Ndoki Union, major persons from there, were part of Ndoki Nation Assembly, but they saw need to have some certain class of leadership. They now went into Ndoki Union, which we are part of. All of us are working in synergy. And Ndoki Mamano, a group as well, came into existence. As I speak to you, we are having a central platform for Ndoki people. We and Ndoki people will come together and address our internal issues. And by the grace of God, as God may have it, gradually we are now entering to the level of being heard in the world. Now we are speaking with you in the US. This is a part of the success, which means our message can be sent beyond Nigeria as Ndoki people. Though I know that we might be called a minority ethnic group, but doesn't mean that we are not in existence. And by the grace of God, history that we have, I come to realize that majority of our people does not have understanding of the history. If you ask some persons in our meeting, if you ask some persons, say, where do you think that Ndoki people come from? Some people will say Ndoki people come from, originated from Opopo. Some people will say Ndoki people originated from Igbo land. So there were divergent view of history of Ndoki, which some of those things they were believing were not true. So we were able to make inquiry, and from our own little understanding, we'll find out, trying to trace our roots, that we are of a Ejo nation. Ndoki people are from Ejo, though we migrated from Benin ancient kingdom, coming down to this part of the land. But still, there is a limit to this history that many of us cannot go beyond. Where did we originate from? They're talking about migration, and we are a job, but who to sit down and give us the breakdown of this history as a people? We are gradually getting there by the grace of God. So today, Ndoki Nation Assembly have been able to reawaken the spirit of oneness, a sense of belonging among Ndoki people. And we are doing everything under God. We are not promoting all those practices, cultural practices that kicks against the word of God. We believe that the first inauguration we had at Ubuoya Ndoki, the foundation laying was dedicating the land of Ndoki to God, handing officially, it was a special program in that inauguration, handing Ndoki land over to God and crying to God to protect Ndoki people, prosper the effort of Ndoki people, and make it fruitful all over the world, because we have seen incessant deaths, untimely deaths here and there. Poster, if you move around, you will begin to see death in this community, death of young people, young and promising people who have future, who can replace the image of Ndoki and bring greatness to our land tomorrow in the future. Many of them dying. This call for not to just go and begin to dance Ekpe. Those who believe, accept it, they can go into doing that. But to an extent, Ndoki people need to trace their way back to God, our roots, back to God. And if you go into more deeper history, from my little findings, there is connection I am realizing that Ndoki people has with the Israelites. I'm having that no historian from their version have been able to disclose these facts, but the further effort I'm making to find out is beaming light towards this direction. But in the nearest future, we will all get there and know our true history that will be generally acceptable and documented. So I want to thank God for you And God has blessed you and have placed you in this level and this position. Is part of our prayer that Ndoki people will have great men and women all over the world who will come to salvage our people. I want to talk about the resources. By the grace of God, I want to let us know that Ndoki people are blessed with natural resources. Ndoki people are blessed with natural resources. We are blessed with enough crude. We have crude, we have gas, and gas plants. Like this place is a place I'm working. My work environment. This is a Farm 6 project. The mega plant will have in the whole of Africa. Ndoki land is hosting the host community of Ndoki. See, we are so much blessed that oil wells we can't count it. And from my findings, in course of this movement, I've been able to unravel some certain hidden history that many of us do not know. And what is that history? You believe that Ndoki land is the first place oil was found in the whole Nigeria. It was found in Ndoki land, oil, crude oil. But though in little quantity, the first place, a place called Uhuru, Ndoki. I have the document with me here. The explorers left Uhuru and now proceeded to Olebri. They left Uhuru as explored for oil, for crude oil. They were able to find oil in a small scale. They now proceeded to Olebri, where they found oil in a bigger quantity. Now, as they finished in Olebri, they now came back to Ndoki land, Oyibo local government. So which means the first place is in Ndoki Abia State, Uhuru, and left from Uhuru because the oil they found there was very little. The history, the document is with us here. And now went to Olebri, the first place to find oil in Ndoki and Nigeria as a whole. Now I came back to Oyibo again. And now in River State, Oyibo becomes the second largest oil producing. The second largest oil producing, very rich in gas and oil and crude, other natural resources. But do you know the funny aspect of it? That what we have here is the environmental impact. The environmental impact is what our people are mostly benefiting from. Many who are being impacted negatively from the hazard from all this, the carbon dioxide, our air soot, such as soot, black soot all over, affecting the environment, thereby polluting our hydrosphere, and lithosphere, atmosphere is being affected by the presence of all these plants in this area. And it comes to employment aspects, fetchers of water and heavers of wood. That is opportunity that you can see some Ndoki people have been taken to employed. So these are part of aspect that is bothering that need to be addressed. As a people, you look at the environment is seriously getting bad and bad every day. When you wake up from sleep, you will see smell of crude. I don't know. When you spray something outside, you see it will be messed up by black soot because of gas flaring. The system of gas flaring here is they just use fire and burn the gas into the air, and the hazard will be deposited there. So these are some of the environmental. I'm not talking about oil spillage. If we talk about spillage, our environment is being affected through spillage as well. Ndoki land is blessed to the extent that we have good farming land, even for mechanized agri. We have good land for mechanized agri. We have good waterways. We have aquatic lives. We have biotic creatures and abiotic. We have a lot of natural resources that we can fall back to that are not yet developed, untapped, which God helping us as we are proceeding, that will gradually come into developing in Ndoki land and bring investment, industrialization that will come into Ndoki land, that will make that we utilize every bit of natural resources which God has given to us in order to enhance and empower our people and improve our standard of living. So by the grace of God, Ndoki National Assembly, we are still going ahead. We have so many things to do. And if you look at our address, you will see a lot of ambition, vision we have in our mind to come to bring to establishment, despite that we are having limitation in the aspect of resources to go into all these projects. So by the grace of God, the Ndoki part of Abia State, the information gathered from the states, from the commissioner, Asopadek commissioner, who have been, I've been in touch with him. He has been clamoring and crying that Ndoki people over there are being marginalized because we are oil bearing, not oil producing, because most of the oil wells there are dormant, they are not functioning. So as our brothers are claiming all the rights that are supposed to come into Ndoki land, because the Ndoki oil wells over there are not producing oil years, but they are oil bearing. So this will call for going into action on how to explore and exploit this opportunity in order to make our people to have the full benefit of this oil well, so that our rights from the government can be fully, will not be eluding us because of this. And this is a big sacrifice we have to do together. In conclusion, I want to let us know that religiously, Ndoki people love Jesus Christ, and we believe in Jesus Christ. No matter what, if you go into the history of Ndoki land, how missionaries came into the land and how they were accepted, and the area where they were accepted, the development there, the advantage and benefit, those things will let you know that Ndoki people are Christians. We are not, we don't worship any other God except God, our Jesus Christ. So we are Christians. So I'm proud of, and I'm happy to tell it to the world that we believe in Jesus Christ as Ndoki people, and we love Jesus Christ. Despite our shortcomings and flaws, we are the seed of God. So by the grace of God, we will get to the promised land. I so much believe God that we'll get to the promised land in the shortest time. May God bless us and bless Ndoki land all over the world. Ndoki shall be great again. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Comrade Livingston. So I was going to make this a little bit more informal. I wanted to get to know, introduce myself to you guys, and also take question and answers, because I want this meeting to be about you guys, not me, because you are the ones that have to make these decisions on election day on who to vote for. So it's all about you. It's all about hearing from you and hearing your concerns and being able to share with you some of the solutions and some of the ways that we will address those concerns and will be able to solve those problems. But people ask me from time to time, um, what informed my decision, you know, my thought process in actually coming to this um, campaign decision. And I tell them that, first of all, the words of Dr. Martin Luther King always rings true in my heart. Um, and he said, um, I'm just going to paraphrase. He said, the tragedy of humanity is not just the actions of the evildoers or the evil people, but is the silence of the good people. So when good people decide to ignore or to not be involved in conversations or actions or activity that would challenge the actions of evildoers or injustice, um, they are complicit, for lack of a better word. It's complicit because you don't, you have to call out evil deeds when you see them. You have to shine light on evil deed. You have to shine light on corruption. And when you keep silent, what happens is that one day you're going to be the victim. I mean, we don't have to go too far back to look at, the result, the reasons why we had the Second World War. Um, People said, "Oh, okay, you know what? If the Nazis are attacking Jews, those are Jews. We are Italians. We are French. You know, Nazis can attack the Jews and kill the Jews. But guess what? After Nazis finished killing, attacking the Jews, guess what? They started going down south. Went to Poland, France, Italy, and they kept on going. So you have to, once you see evil, you have to do everything within your power to call out evil, challenge evil, shine light on evil, and stop it. Because tomorrow you might be the one that's the victim of that of that evil being perpetuated. So that's one. Two, we love Nigeria. We love Nigeria dearly with a passion. And back in back in the 80s and the early 90s, when there was no internet, people can reside, Nigerians can immigrate in different parts of the world and completely isolate themselves from the difficulties and challenges, you know, in Nigeria. The means of communication, if I can remember back then, was um, using post mail. You write a letter, you put it in the mailbox, it takes a couple of weeks to get to the destination and back and forth. And sometimes, if you want to call somebody from overseas, you go to the NITEL to make those calls. So, but with the social media and internet, everything is now all in front of you every day. You know when the kidnapping is happening. You're concerned about your loved ones. Are they safe? Are they okay? Is there anything you can do? And if you're not in Nigeria, you feel so helpless because you don't know what to do to find out if they are safe, especially if they're not picking up the phone. If the Fulani herdsmen are attacking um, a village close to yours, you already, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of an important meeting with a client in Texas or in New York, or you're about to sign $1 million contract. But once you see that WhatsApp message pop up on your phone, that the Fulani herdsmen are already, invading villages close to yours, nothing matters anymore. Nothing matters anymore. Nothing. It doesn't matter the millions of dollars you're about to sign. The contract doesn't matter. The middle of the job you're in doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. All that matters is you want to get in touch with your people back home and find out if they're safe, find out if they're alive, find out if your loved ones are in harm's way, Find out what you can do to make sure that you keep them safe. That's all. And if these things have now become a normal occurrence, the kidnapping, the attack, the invasion, I mean, it's like there's no end in sight. And these things are just so distracting, and the impact, especially people don't understand when you're outside Nigeria and you feel so helpless, and you know that there's so much suffering and so much difficulties people are going through. You are so much more worried than even the people in Nigeria themselves. So when you see a situation like this, and you know that there is leadership that can actually come and intervene and keep your people safe, then you're okay. Then your mind is happy. Then you know that you can concentrate and focus on what you're doing here in diaspora. But when you know that the leadership they've abdicated their responsibilities, and everybody's allowed to fend for themselves, and you're thinking, is there law enforcement that is going to intervene? Is there somebody in leadership that is going to go there and try to call people and calm people's nerves? And you know that's not going to happen. Then it becomes very frustrating. So I'm not going to really get on this platform and begin to tell you all the challenges in Nigeria. I mean, I've done that on my voicemail, on my voice memo that I put out. The problems in Nigeria are multi-layered, and they have serious impact and consequences to the lives and prosperity of Nigerians. Whether it's the corruption that makes it hard for foreign investors to invest dollars and to make serious investments in the country. Why? Because they're concerned about the credit risk. They are concerned about the security. They're concerned if they're going to get returns on their investments. You don't just invest in an opportunity, even if it's in a country, and not expect a return. And they have to understand that for that investment, they need to be reassured that at least they're going to get back their money plus a premium on their investments. But with corruption, the risk is astronomically high. So guess what? All that investment that is supposed to come to a place like Nigeria is going somewhere else. And we're being deprived of an opportunity like that. Look at environmental pollution. Comrade Livingston talked about the suits, the black suits. You know, when people cough, they get the black charcoal coming out from their throats. That is not how a human being is supposed to live. The quality of life, because you're an oil-producing community, should not degrade because you're an oil-producing community. I've seen oil-producing communities. I know oil-producing communities, even in Texas. They don't breathe soot, they don't breathe charcoal, they don't cough out charcoal when they cough. I've seen people that are sitting on oil-producing assets, ranchers, farmers. They don't have to deal with spillage on their property. They don't have to deal with spillage, pollution in their rivers and waterways. They don't have to deal with fishes. Yeah, you know.
Even
so they don't have to deal with, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm hearing. I mean, sometimes you will see Infano, a case of explosion of pipeline, and hundreds and thousands of people will be set ablaze and will die.
Just like
that. The recent one we had here. Yeah, the recent one we had here, many people who died have not even been compensated. Timely.
It is not the consequences you're supposed to face for being an oil-producing community.
Oh.
You're bringing resources, you're bringing cash flow, you're contributing to the cash flow of the country. You shouldn't pay a price for doing that. And that is one of the big consequences, one of the big problems, especially in Ndoki land, that needs to be addressed. the substandard infrastructures, we have a situation where there is poor infrastructure development in the country. Whether it's the electricity, is the roads, is the broadband access, there is poor infrastructure development that needs to be addressed, because you cannot allow, and this is the big problem. People look at infrastructure expenses, infrastructure uh, budgets and expenses as an expense. You don't understand that when you invest in infrastructure, it's actually called what investments. An investment means that it will eventually generate cash flow that allows you, that allows a country not just to pay back the actual principal on investment, but also to generate returns on that investment. If you have, if you build a road that gives farmers access from their farm to market, what does that automatically do? That automatically allows the farmer to move their produce from their farms to the markets, sell it, generate commercial activity, be able to engage in commerce, and that commercial activity automatically filters down the value chain that allows people to get employed, people to earn a living, people to make cash flow, and that money they make, they go to the market to buy food, to buy consumables, and they use it to pay for their rents. So you unlock a whole spectrum of commercial activity by just building that road. You unlock a whole spectrum of commercial activity by just building that bridge, by just putting in place that internet infrastructure. So, and for an economy to thrive and to succeed, you need to invest in your infrastructure. Now, talking about crime and insecurity, I can't, everybody's familiar with the kidnapping of the um, of the girls, of the 317 girls, and kidnapping has become more like a business these days in Nigeria. We have formed the habit of actually compensating bad behavior. When people behave badly, when they kidnap, when they commit crimes that creates the insecurity of others, of their fellow citizens, you don't compensate people for doing that. You don't reward people for doing that. When you reward bad behavior, what happens is that you perpetuate the bad behavior. It will keep happening over and over again. So we have to come up with a leadership that understands that you don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't negotiate with terrorists, because you negotiate with terrorists, guess what? You're funding their future attack. You negotiate with terrorists, you pay them off, you pay them a ransom, you pay them off, you satisfy their demand. Guess what? You're actually setting yourself up, or setting the ecosystem up for a future terrorist attack. So you have to make sure that you put in place a policy that does not negotiate or compensate people, terrorists, or people that commit terrorist acts. So we'll talk about unemployment. The unemployment situation has been devastating for Nigerians. You see young men, young women that graduate from university, and they can't be guaranteed, they can't even find a good job. And these people are not lazy. They don't have, um, they don't want handouts. They just want to be able to give a chance. They just want a chance to be able to earn a living and start a family and build a house, own a home, and live in safety and security within their community, and help become productive members of the society. And at the end of the day, they just want to retire in dignity and not have to wait in long lines just to get their pension or to get their pension paid. When I hear situations where retirees are sitting and waiting for months just to get their pensions paid, what they have already paid, they don't understand. They have already paid into these programs. And the program is supposed to pay them back, give them not just returns on the program that have invested their money on during their working years, but it's supposed to pay them a premium on that. That is to allow them to have a dignified retirement. But when I hear about retirees waiting in long lines, waiting weeks just to be able to get the money that they're entitled to, that breaks my heart. That is not a way to allow the elderly to see to have some dignity in the twilight of their years. So we have to fix something like we have to fix the unemployment system and the retirement, the benefit system for retirees, and make sure that those benefits are promptly paid, and the bottlenecks that are making those delays, that are causing those delays, must be addressed. We look at the healthcare system. The healthcare system has been a very troubling part of the Nigerians' health and wellness. We have situations where there are misdiagnosis of illness. People are given expired medicine, expired drugs, and people can't even find, good doctors or good hospitals. This is a big problem, and this is personal. This is really personal to me as far as I'm concerned. Back when I was about to graduate from university, when I was about to get my first job, my mom, my mom had, she was a strong woman, hardworking woman. She's, one of the best individuals on earth, I can say, point blank period. But over the period of 3 years, she was sick. We were going from one doctor to the other, one doctor to another. For over 3 years, I would spend more than ₦1 million week back then. Every doctor we go to request a battery of tests. We do tests, whether it's blood work, the whole test. And they say, okay, we can't find anything. We go to the next doctor. We went to more than 5 doctors over a period of 3 years, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And she was just, dying every day. And at the end of the day, she passed away. She didn't need to pass away. She didn't need to die. She was a strong woman. She had so much life to live. She had so much to give to the world. And if I think about that, and I think about so many people like that in that situation, so many mothers, so many brothers, so many sisters, so many fathers that can't get proper health care, that can't get proper diagnosis, that can't get proper care when they're sick, even when they are paying so much money. That touches me deeply. So as far as I'm concerned, this is something that needs to be addressed. Everybody should have access to at least good primary health care. So this is something that should and will be addressed within the first 24 months of my administration, if I'm elected. So for poor education, I wanted to share with you that education is the building block for a strong economy. And without a good education, our youths, our children will not be better positioned to face the challenges of the future if they are to be leaders. So we have to understand what the impact is if we are not funding our education properly. We have to fund our government schools. We have to make sure that the teachers are well paid. We have to make sure that the benefits are in place to allow them to commit to teaching our children for success. And not just that, we have to make sure that the primary and the secondary school education is not just affordable, but it's free. It's free because no child has to be outside selling pure water when their mates or their age mates are in class studying. That is evil, and that cannot happen. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. So we're going to fund our schools, our primary and secondary schools. We're going to provide um, proper benefits package for teachers, and we're going to make sure that they are well trained, and we're going to ensure that children, uh, primary school and secondary school, is well funded to allow our children to be able to go to school free of charge. And then after they graduate from secondary school, we have a jobs training program if they want to start their careers, if they want to earn a living. We have a job training program for all local governments that will allow them to go train in key skills, either in construction, in tech, in agriculture, because we're still going to be building this huge infrastructure need for infrastructure development and for lots of construction to build out our economy. So we're going to need a lot of construction workers. We're going to need a lot of people that are building tech platforms. We're still behind on our ability to understand the data needs of the country. We can't even tell we can't even tell the demography of our local towns and villages. We have to be able to incentivize people, entrepreneurs, to build platforms, to build systems that can warehouse data of our of people in our community so that we can put in place policies, we can run forecasts, we can run analytics and understand the needs of tomorrow, understand the needs of the next generation. Because if we don't have information, we don't have data, then we cannot put in place policies that will address the challenges of tomorrow. So we have to incentivize the next workforce to be able to put themselves in a position where they can begin to build systems and processes that would allow us to build an efficient government, an efficient economic system. And also, we have to train the next generation of our people to go into agriculture because the oil and gas, with our mono-economic system where we depend, most of our revenue depends on oil and gas, we have to understand that without diversification, we are planning for failure. We have to allow ourselves to develop our agroeconomic capacity, put programs in place that will allow our farmers to have access to mechanized equipment that they can use in their farms, the cultivators, the harvesters, the sprinklers. We have to make sure that if you're a farmer and you're responsible for being the food baskets of your community or of the states, you have you don't have to have within your toolkit just the cutlass and the hoe. The cutlass and the hoe automatically caps your productivity because you can only work that hard and you can only dig that deep with your cutlass. But we have to make sure that you have access to cultivators, harvesters, tractors that will allow you to be able to scale up your production so that you can get bigger and better harvests. So, but it starts from training, put in place, training our people in agroeconomy, be it agricultural business, fisheries, farming, and the agro-allied systems. And then for the failure in governance, that has been the total tragedy of the Nigerian system. We cannot allow a system that don't hold people accountable, that don't have controls in place, to be at the mercy of the leadership or the people that are in the structure of leadership. Because as far as we're concerned, um, I was looking at um, I was looking at the situation with the NDDC. The NDDC is tasked with responsibility of developing our community, our oil producing communities. But it's so sad to say that it's just been a total disaster in every way that I can imagine. Projects are going uncompleted. I don't know, we don't even understand who is having which contract, how much the contract is for what responsibilities they have to deliver those contracts. And half more than half of the contracts, you look at We go look at their portfolio, more than half of the contracts are incomplete. And these are 5, 10 years, contracts. And there might be small, simple contractors just to build out a road, maybe a 2-kilometer road, and it's incomplete. And and those contracts has been awarded 10 years ago. And nobody can account for how, what happened, how much was paid to the contractor, how much the contractor is supposed to, uh, uh, when the contractor is supposed to finish building out those roads. So you see a complete failure in governance. We have to come up with a way to ensure that people are held accountable. We have to put in place the tools, like I give, like what I said in my audio, where you have controls and you have blockchain strategy that allows contractors all contract award to be encapsulated within the blockchain. And this would allow everybody to understand, to know who was given the contract. Actually, first of all, you have to come up with a scorecard for contract award. Has the contractor, has the vendor been delivering the previous contracts? Have they satisfactorily been providing the services or delivering on the services that was contracted to them? And if so, what is the feedback you're getting from the community that's supposed to benefit from that service or from that contract or from that project? What is the what is the survey? Did you conduct a post-project survey in the community to say, okay, that road that was built 6 months later, let's come and take a survey in the community and find out, was that road properly built? Is that road working for you? Was it built to is it actually delivering value the way it's supposed to? Let the community have a say and attach it to the file of that particular contractor. And if that contractor is not satisfactory, that is something that's going to be attached to the profile that are allowing you to, in future, if you have to award a contract, you know, okay, that contractor was unsatisfactory, so he doesn't get a chance to get another contract. But most importantly, and this is the part that just bugs me the most, you have to put in place a non-performance bond. Every contractor must have to have a non-performance bond so that if they don't deliver on their projects, which they were contracted to do, then you can collect on their bond as a recourse, because you can't let people just be fetching away money, I mean fetching away, um, not being accountable, for their actions. So, like I said, this meeting is supposed to be about you, not about me. It's about you having to listen to and take questions and address some of the concerns that you have, because as far as I'm concerned, I think about this every day. There are about 84 million voters in Nigeria. 84 million. 84 million registered voters in Nigeria. Out of 84 million, about 30 million voted, roughly about 30 million voted. And out of the 30 million, 50 million, roughly about 50 million voted for Buhari. That was in 2019. We're talking about 2019 election. So 50 million voters voted for Buhari. In total votes for the 2019 election were about 30 million. Now, you have 84 million people that registered. That means that about 54 million did not vote. They were registered to vote. They got their PVC card, but they just did not vote. So my question is, why did the 54 million sit out the last election? Well, I'll take a guess if I can take a guess. They set out because they were uninspired by the candidates. They could not see any candidate that was worth voting for. That's what you do when you don't see any good options. You sit at home, you say, why do I have to waste my time, go stand in line?
Exactly.
Go vote for another criminal over another criminal. So they sat out. So our decision is to ensure that we come up with a plan that we must fulfill when elected. not a plan that will tell that we're going to fulfill before they no, a plan that will let the voters know this is a plan that's going to be sacrosanct. It cannot be compromised. It is a plan that we must guarantee that we will accomplish when elected. And after being elected, we must ensure that we deliver on those promises without compromise. And that is the way that we will turn around the situation in Nigeria and bring prosperity to people. Because over the years, we've normalized mediocrity. And when we normalize mediocrity, the systems collapse. So, like I said, for every time that I get confused or that, I'm trying to figure out what to do or trying to figure out, okay, what is my North Star? What is my value? How do we put together a team? How do we have that, ensure that we live up to our obligation as elected leaders? I go back to the values, which is on my website, and I've talked about that on my audio. And that is that all humans, whether you're from the North, you're from the South, you're from the East, you're from the West, all humans, all Nigerians are created equal. And they are guaranteed the rights to life, to freedom, to liberty, to justice, to opportunity, and most importantly, to pursuing happiness. And everything about governance, all the structures of governance, must do everything within their power to protect these rights. Because we are only as strong as our weakest. We are only as strong as our weakest. We can't have a mansion in the middle of a ghetto and expect to be able to sleep in peace when everything around us, everybody around us is living in poverty. That is not the way. That is not, you cannot, in good conscience, live that kind of, be satisfied just being the only richest guy in the streets or in the community when everybody is suffering in poverty. You cannot, in good conscience, as a human being, be the only one that has 20 cars, 20 Mercedes, when everybody else in town cannot afford food to eat. That is not human. That is not the humanity that God created in his own image. We have to do different. We have to do better. And we must do better. So 2023 is our opportunity, is our chance to begin to figure out, to begin to understand that we can't just be living in this status quo, in the current status quo, that we can actually do better. And we will do better. And we must do better. So with that said, I'd like to just open up the floor for question and answer. If anybody has a comment, they're free to make comments. I'll be looking at the comments section on YouTube and the Zoom, and I'll encourage people to go ahead and share their thoughts and ideas.
Yes, I want to comment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Chidadi, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. I want to begin by thanking Livingston Emeka Okere and Livingston Olia. Yes. Yes. I noted the history you gave. You went down memory lane. You told us about Ndoki resources, gas flaring, oil well exploration, and so on and so forth. The intent was really good. And to cut the long story short, our brother Godsfield, one called the presidential aspirant, I thank you also for calling us to this particular town hall meeting. I've heard you, and you must have read some of my comments on WhatsApp. I'm not in Nigeria at the moment. I'm in Freetown, Sierra Leone. And when I heard about this meeting, I said, okay, very good. I want to hear from our own brother. All what you have mentioned here are the problems compounding Nigeria. And when you look at each and every one of them, you will discover that it boils down to issue of corruption. Issue of corruption and people not being accountable to whatever responsibility and roles they've been given. And now, if you look at the complexity of the Nigerian society, of the multi-ethnicity component of Nigeria, you will discover where our problem lies. And then the question I want to put forward to you is, how do you intend to bring down the degree of corruption in Nigeria to its lowest limit? And how do you intend to grapple with the problem of multi-ethnicity and religious issues that has really given this country a very hard time? Because if we cannot take care of these particular 2 or 3 areas, definitely we will go back to where we were before. I just came into Sierra Leone 2 months ago. I discovered it's a very small country. They have Muslims and Christians. Religious tolerance here is 100%, highly infectious. People can go to church and pray. People can go to mosque and pray. Nobody gives a damn. So the question is, how do you intend to take care of these very salient areas that has really given Nigeria the worst headache, that has really made Nigeria not to develop, that has really made Nigeria 3 steps forward and 20 steps backward? Thank you.
Okay, I'll first thank you for the question. Addressing the issue of corruption, we have to think outside the box to be able to address the issue of corruption. You can't address corruption using the usual or normal strategies. Fortunately, we have a technology right now in place, what is called blockchain. Blockchain allows every transaction, every expense, every budget allocation to be traceable and to be tracked. It's immutable. That means that you cannot go back and change anything, change numbers, change figures. And you can apply contracts, smart contracts, to the transaction. Like, for example, if with the situation that is being faced now at NDCs, that's really, really a bad situation right now. When you have a place like NDC where they give contracts and they don't care if the work is done, and somebody gets a kickback and they abandon the job in the middle of it and they don't care, and they just leave the community, stranded with that project. What you have to have in place is this. You have to say, okay, first of all, if you're going to be a vendor and you're going to apply for contract, you're going to apply to, we'll send you RFQ or request RFPs or RFQs. You have to produce a performance bond that would allow us to, okay, if you don't perform, we will collect the money. 2, we have to put in place a percentage of completion milestones on the project. Okay, if it's a $10 million project, if you complete the first 25% of the project, we disburse 25% of the payments. If you complete 50% of the project, we disburse 50% of the payments. And that is how you have to structure the smart contracts. And it's not even going to be somebody's going to be responsible for doing that. You build that into the blockchain system. So it's not somebody that's going to be coming to the office lobbying to get paid. No, that is built into the blockchain smart contracts. So as soon as you finish 25% of the milestone, you come to the milestone, and somebody goes there, okay, milestone is complete. We confirm not just visual, but also documented, and everybody signs off on it. Boom, it triggers off the first batch of payments. And that's how we can ensure that people are actually completing the projects that they are assigned to do. Now, in terms of corruption, it is bigger scale. You cannot have a place where people are working for months without being paid. When people work, they expect to get paid. They have expenses, they have living expenses they have to take care of. When I hear that in Nigeria that people work for 6 months and they're not getting paid their salary, then that becomes something that is troubling. How do you expect the person to survive? How do you expect the person to pay the light bills, to buy food, to feed the children, to put fuel on the car? So we have to make it illegal for people not to get paid. We have to hold the companies and organizations and establishments responsible, because you know what? That is criminal. As a matter of fact, all over the world is criminal. In the US, it's criminal. You cannot have people work for you, give you something of value, and then you turn around and you don't pay them. That is stealing. You're stealing their value, you're stealing their performance, you're stealing their work. And you're not giving them the payment for the work they do. So we're going to put in place, if you don't want to be in business, that's fine. Then go out of business. But you cannot say you're being in business and making cash flow from the efforts of Mr. A, B, C, D. You're getting profits, but yet you're putting all that profit in your pockets and not coming back a month later to make sure that A, B, C, D is getting paid for that profit you're making. Now, if you don't want to be a business and you think that you can make profit, then say so and stay out of business. But whether it's government establishments, whether it's private companies or private businesses, we have to make sure that people are paid at the end of every month for the work they do. And if people get paid, I know that the incentive to collect a bribe for processing your passport or for processing a document, or in the ministry to sign the paperwork or to process your maybe a voucher or whatever, those tendencies will be eliminated because there's no incentive to actually be corrupt in your place of work, whether you're in the ministry or whether in the private business. So we have to make sure that people get paid. We have to make sure that we provide job opportunities for people. When people have jobs and with good paying jobs, then they have less incentives to be corrupt. They have less incentive to actually go into illegal activities. So my thing is this: you're not going to be able to eliminate corruption 100%, but you can put controls in place and create environment that would completely minimize the amount of corruption and then let the economy thrive and grow the way it's supposed to. So that is my strategy for corruption. For ethnic tribalism and ethnic and religious differences, I think that, and human beings want to live in peace. They want to be able to live in an environment where they can start a family, live peacefully, grow old, and die in dignity. Human beings don't wake up every morning want to kill somebody or want to fight somebody. No. So I think that the religious differences and the strife that you see every day is a symptom of a disease. And the disease that we have is the frustration in the socio-economic situation in Nigeria. Because when there's that problem and there's a problem in the socio-economic situation and people are not able to get good jobs, people are not able to get access to the basic needs. Guess what? They try to look for somebody who is the cause of the problem. Is oh, the reason why I didn't get a contract at the ministry was because of that Muslim that is there, and or the reason why I wasn't able to get into a position was because of this particular religious person that was there. No, you have to create a situation where everybody is progressing, everybody is striving. When everybody is striving, then nobody will be able to, people will be less likely to point at other people for their failures or for their inability to perform. Because they know that if they put in the work, they get results. If they put in the work, they get rewards. And that is why, you're in Freetown now. I bet you Freetown is thriving economically. Everybody is happy. So nobody has any reason to point at the other person for their inability to accomplish what they want to accomplish. So we have to now, it's a symptom, just like if you have a headache. Yes, you might have a headache, but the actual sickness you have might be malaria. Maybe the malaria causes, results in headache. The malaria results in tiredness. You're tired, you're weak, your body's not, you're not strong. Yeah, you're not strong because that is a symptom of an illness you have, and that illness is malaria. Until you can't say, okay, I'm tired, and then you now take what they call it, energy booster to make you have energy, and ignore the fact that you have malaria. That is not going to solve the problem, because the symptom is not the problem. It's the actual disease that you have to address. And the disease we have in Nigeria, so the point I'm trying to make is the religious strife that we have is just a symptom of a disease. So to address the symptom, we have to address the disease. And the disease is the failure in our socio-economic structures. We have to address that. We have to create an enabling environment for people to prosper. And when people begin to prosper, then you see a situation where the symptom now goes away or is minimized. So that is sort of the strategy that we're looking at in terms of helping to fix the strife. And that also speaks to the so-called tribalism and nepotism, because when you create a prosperous ecosystem where everybody's prospering, everybody's doing okay, everybody's being able to live on a good wage, have their home, not worry about what they're going to eat, and they're prosperous, all those issues of tribalism goes away. It goes out the door, or at least it's minimized. So that is my my take on that, or the answer I can give. I'm trying to see. So it's been we'll take maybe one or two more questions if anybody's, I don't know if, let me see the YouTube. Let me see if there's anybody on the YouTube channel. Okay, have one person watching. Yeah, if you have any question, go ahead and submit the question on the side there on the chat, and we can be able to address those questions. We'll be winding down in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And if you have a question, you can go ahead and ask the question. If not, I'm going to make a last remark. And I'm going to say this. Democracy is a representative system of government. That means that people in leadership people in leadership are actually a representation of the entire citizenry. So when people in leadership are not actually a representation of the citizenry, the total citizenry of the country, then there's a problem because the people in leadership are not actually representing the interests of the entire country. And that is the reason why you're seeing so much difficulties and strife because people that voted, the 30 million people that voted, are just a segment of the entire population. And the people that sat out the vote, people that did not register to vote, are actually the component that we need to be a part of the process and participate in the process to be able to create and elect a true representation of the population, the total population that we have in Nigeria. When you have that in place, then your democracy will now begin to work because the leaders will understand that people that elected them are the people that they are there to serve. And when they don't serve the citizens that elected them, guess what happens? They get fired. So they have to wake up every day and work hard for the people that elected them. And um, if we begin to look at our efforts or begin to do what we need to do, then we can create an environment where everybody's interests, whether you're from north, south, east, west, everybody's interest is represented at the the leadership. Everybody's interest is represented in the National Assembly. Everybody's interest is represented in the executive branch. And that way, when decisions are being made and policies are being crafted, you can be sure that your interest is going to be represented and is going to be part of the policy formulation. So we'll begin to sensitize, like Chidadi said, sensitization is key. This feeling of apathy, voters' apathy, is been 50 years or 60 years in the making, and it will require a lot of sensitization. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and spread the information, spread the word, and let people know that this time around, we're going to try to do something different. We're going to create an environment that works for everybody, and we're going to be able to do better and have a Nigeria that works for us and not for a few. So with that, anybody has any other question? I see we have a newcomer, Ndoki. If we have any question, we can address those questions now, but if not, I'll call this meeting to a close. And I hope that we will do this more frequently and get together and share some of the ideas and how we can build a better Nigeria for everybody that works for everybody. Okay. Let me see. Okay, let me see. We've had a problem in Nigeria, even though we have good policies. Implementation of these policies are marred with bad interests. Even at that, we don't link policy outcomes with research. That is why we are where we are. I agree with you completely. We have to be able to implement data-driven decisions. Data-driven decision. We don't just decide one day, oh, okay, we have to raise the price of fuel at the pump, to 200 naira or 300 naira or 400 naira, and then, oh, okay, sorry, it was a mistake. We have to bring it back to 100 naira. Oh, and then so you're all over the place with your decision-making process. How did you arrive at those decisions? Are they data-driven? Are they well-informed? So we have to make data-driven decisions. Why are you insisting that you want to shut down people that have crypto accounts? What data is informing those decisions? What policies are you putting in place to ensure that those decisions you make are not going to negatively impact the well-being of the people you're elected to serve? So the question you have to keep asking yourself is, it's not about making, I mean, we've seen some very, very horrible decisions that have been made by our leaders. And those had their dire consequences. We have to make sure that when, if elected, we build a decision-making process and have smart people, intelligent people at the table that would help formulate those policies and decisions. And we not only have, we make sure that we communicate, because governance is a two-way process. And that's what this current leadership has failed. Governance is a two-way process. You can't just be governing the citizens. You have to listen to the citizens from time to time. In engineering, there's what they call, in numerical integration, numerical analysis, there's what they call you iterate solutions. You iterate your solutions until you come to a perfect, until you come to a final solution. You converge to a final solution. When you don't get feedback from the citizens from time to time, and you don't share your ideas or share your policies or share what you're looking to do with citizens on a regular basis, and tell them, okay, look, next month we're looking to put in place this, and this must come from the top. This must come from the president. Come out, address the country. Okay, well, next month we're looking to do this, and I want to make sure that you know about it, and I want to share with you why we're doing it, and I want to walk you through the process that we've gone through in trying to make this decision and policy, and this is how it's going to benefit you, and this is how I expect that we're going to implement those decisions and policies. You share that with the citizens, and then give them time to adjust before you implement those policies. Give them 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You tell them ahead of time, and then also, okay. And then if you get a pushback from the citizens that says, oh, we don't like that policy is going to stop my business, it's going to put me in difficulty, it's going to make me lose my house, it's going to make sure, then you now get that feedback, you go back to the drawing table, you re-strategize. But you don't just it's not a one-way communication, it's a two-way communication. Governance is a two-way communication. So we have to do better, and I see that the way, like you said, the outcomes, the policy outcomes, we don't link policy outcomes with research. Research is also, is also encapsulated within that whole two-way communication, getting data, assessing, getting the feedback of the people you're actually expecting to implement those policies in their ecosystem. So those are the things that you need to make sure that you have in place before you actually roll out the policy, which we do not do. So I thank everybody for taking the time to join us today. And I appreciate all the questions, and we'll do this again. And this will be on YouTube. So just in case those that missed it, we'll be able to go back and play it back. And thank you very much. And God bless you all.